This is Alien vs. Predator, and this is a video game also called Alien vs. Predator. One is an early 2000s schlockfest made by himbo auteur Paul W.S. Anderson. The other is a Capcom side-scrolling beat-em-up that features smooth gameplay, amazingly animated sprites, and Arnold Schwarzenegger with a robot arm. Throw your mind back to 1993. Bucket hats were cool, wide-leg jeans were everywhere, and nothing spoke to youth culture more than something being extreme. Actually, now that you think about it, basically all those things are back. So the question is, what's more extreme than one franchise of space-themed killers? Well, two, obviously. Thus, Alien vs. Predator was born. Dark Horse Comics writer and editor Randy Stradley came up with the idea supposedly as a joke in an editorial meeting. Everyone loved it, and the rest, as they say, is history. The book that spun out of these discussions combined the universes of the Alien and the Predator into something that was distinctly greater than the sum of their parts. A world of stories that pitted the ultimate predator against the ultimate other predator. Launching in 1990, this comic book miniseries would follow a human woman, Michiko Noguchi, who after surviving a battle with the aliens, befriends a predator and proves her mental and physical fortitude. The comic has a brilliantly simple concept. Who would win in a fight? A guy with a mouth inside of his mouth or a guy with fingers on the outside of his mouth? The book proved so successful that Fox executives metaphorically stood up and started paying attention. Maybe there was money to be made here. Maybe the fans wanted to see these two titans of the silver screen duke it out. Enter screenwriter Peter Briggs. Though he would later go on to pen Hellboy, Briggs was a young writer at this time and didn't quite know how film licenses worked. He discovered the book at a local shop in England and decided, I'll just write a draft of this. He did, and was able to get it to people at Fox. Shockingly, they liked it, and the project was actually given some development funds. Titled The Hunt, Alien vs. Predator, the script was a loose adaptation of the book. Following the central protagonist of Michiko Noguchi, a young woman raised on a colony world who then, through ritual combat, proves her strength and goes to live with the predators in a distinctly Dances with Wolves-coded story. Is the structure of this film giving Avatar 2 decades before James Cameron took us to Pandora? Well, maybe, but let's be real. Both of these creatures are cooler looking than the Na'vi. The film had just about everything you want. Cool deaths, loads of predators and aliens, and a scale that was well above what had come before in either franchise. Just the opening sequence alone, where we follow a clan of predators on a hunting expedition, would have been better than most of the Predator sequels. Fox was ecstatic. They thought they had a hit on their hands. So what did they do? Rushed licensing and tie-in merch into production. And what makes dollar signs appear faster than a video game? Nothing. Capcom's Alien vs. Predator is exactly what you think it is. It's a side-scroller beat-em-up game in the classic fashion. Have you ever played Turtles in Time or Streets of Rage? Great, then you know what this is. Only with the added twists of outrageous character designs, more aliens than you can shake a stick at, and loads of collectible weapons. Honestly, AVP is one of the best beat-em-ups from this era. Smooth controls, cool level design, an entire sequence where you're fighting aliens while riding on top of an APC, it rules. A key reason this game is so fun is due to the density of weapons that are scattered throughout the levels. So many of these games are stingy about when or where you get interesting or unique weaponry. In this game though, you know you're there for one reason, to kill aliens. As you're aware, this genre is called beat 'em up because the player spends a lot of time punching and kicking hordes of assailants. But the thing that this game gets right over and over again is that it's really fun to pick up a laser cannon and mow down extraterrestrials. The variety of enemies is also really great. Not only do you have the drones and warrior aliens, and of course the stray predator or alien queen, but you also have facehuggers and zombified infected humans. The game easily invites you into a world that works how you wish the Alien and Predator movies function: maximalist violence. You're probably thinking to yourself, if this game is so great, why haven't I heard of it before? Well, because unlike some of the other AVP games, this game was only available in the arcade for decades. We'll get to the reason why in a minute, but due to that, it's been exceedingly hard to gain access to. Now, you might have noticed there are 4 playable characters. 2 predators, Dutch, who in this incarnation has a robot arm, and Michiko. Wait, no, Lin Kurosawa? I wonder why that could be. Well, despite how rad Peter Brigg's script was, the AVP film project was shuttered and fell into development hell. They had attached Stan Winston to direct and his creature effects company to do all the makeups. But the winds of change drove things in another direction. The brass at Fox decided it was too risky to potentially capsize not just one franchise, but two. What would have happened if the AVP movie had failed? It would have cast a dark shadow over two potentially highly lucrative money-making machines. So by the time Capcom was notified that the film wasn't going ahead, the game was too far into production. They had no choice but to complete it, which is why the game was only available in the arcade cabinet for years and years. Currently, the easiest way to play the game is through emulation. This isn't the most glamorous or strictly legal thing to admit, but it's honest. This game has been undervalued, underappreciated, and underserved by Capcom for years, and it's finally now getting its due among fans. In fact, the game has been developing such a cult following that in 2018, NECA announced that they'd be releasing a Dutch and Lin Kurosawa 2-pack. Now you can repeatedly fire a cybernetic arm laser cannon to your heart's content. Capcom's AVP is one in a long line of games, merch, and comics that were birthed by the original Dark Horse miniseries. However, the thing that separates this project from all the rest is it feels like almost the platonic ideal of what it's trying to be. Capcom's AVP is without a doubt one of the best beat-em-ups ever made, and definitely one of the best from this era, and that's saying something. But what's even more impressive is that if you took the name Alien vs. Predator out of it, and made it a generic sci-fi side-scroller, it would be just as good. The aspects that make this game so great aren't actually dependent on the underlying license like how they might be in another franchise. It's such a shame that Capcom didn't believe this game had the legs to stand by itself, because it probably would have been a blockbuster. The weird thing about the Alien and Predator fan bases is that while the initial movies are fantastic, most of the sequels aren't very good. And the franchises ostensibly exist to milk the goodwill of the people who remember how amazing that first or second installment was. Especially during the 90s when you had Alien 3 and Predator 2 stinking up cineplexes, Capcom's AVP could have been the, no pun intended, dark horse of the franchise. It could have generated an entire second wave of fandom for Fox, and yet, it didn't. Alien vs. Predator is a weird sub-franchise, the red-headed stepchild of Fox's space monster ensemble. Both of the live-action films have been relegated to non-canon status. The games that come out are typically first-person shooters, and the ones that do get released have a batting average of 500 at best. Ultimately, Capcom's AVP could have been widely acknowledged as the best Alien or Predator game, but it never will be for two reasons. Number one, Alien Isolation is a masterpiece, and number two, there's just not enough people who care about beat-em-ups to force a critical reappraisal of this game. Is Lin Kurosawa doomed to obscurity forever? Or is there a broader fan base of people out there who think their video game characters need to have more laser-shooting robot hands? Well, the jury is still out on this one. I mean, it's not really. This game is doomed to be a small annotated footnote in the history of the Xenomorph and the Yautja. But one can hope, right? Right? Wait! Hey, where'd everyone go? And well, that's it for this episode of Nerdstalgic. What do you think? Does this game deserve a cultural reappraisal? Or is there nothing really here to say other than, man, that robot arm was sick? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe for more videos just like this.